Welcome.
Well, hello, GI.
How are you, Travis? You doing good on this Wednesday night?
I am kind of excited
All right.
for tonight.
Very excited.
We've got a record here that we have wanted to do since the beginning.
Yeah.
And we've managed to put together a band that hasn't been in the room together in 16 years, I think is what we were talking about.
That's what they tell us. So it's going to be exciting to hear from them. So welcome to all the Flickerstick fans. Really appreciate you guys. The enthusiasm for this project has been off the charts. We don't do this too often. It's exciting to see one where there's a lot of passion behind it. My name is G.I. Sanders. I am one of the founders of the DFW Legacy Series, along with Travis and a couple of our good buddies. We are a tiny independent record label based out of the Dallas area, and our sole focus is vinyl reissues of great albums that came from the Dallas-Fort Worth, Denton area. We've been doing this for about, 6 or 8 months. We put out some really cool records already. We put out records from bands like Miser and Edgewater and Slow Roosevelt and Reissue and South FM, which was a band I was in. It has been a blast. The response has been amazing. And Flickerstick is one of the next ones we're going to talk about tonight. That's why we're here. I've had a long history in the Dallas music scene and super passionate about all these artists. Travis, yourself as well. Give everybody a little update on your background in the management and radio side of things.
Yep, started in radio in the early 90s. I was a marketing director for Clear Channel, iHeartRadio, AM/FM. Anyone in the Dallas area will know the station 102.1 The Edge, which is who broke Flickerstick on the radio in Dallas. So, you know what? Nobody wants to hear about us.
This is true.
Nobody cares about us. Let's bring in who everyone's tuning in to see right now. Corey.
Hey. What's up?
We got Fletcher.
What's up, guys?
I think Fletcher's got a special guest for them.
Get in the screen there. There you go. There's Brandon.
Welcome.
There's some faces I haven't seen in a long time.
I like it.
Well, hey, before we get into the kind of talking and walking down memory lane, GI, let's give everybody the information that they want to know.
Yes, so everyone is here for a couple reasons. The number one reason is, of course, the new reissued version of Welcoming Homely Astronauts. I just put up a picture of it. I think everyone's able to see it right now. This is going to be a double LP. It's $44.99. You can get it right now at DFWLegacySeries.com. It is limited edition. It's going to be colored vinyl. We're going to hand number them. We're going to press a couple hundred of them probably based on what we see tonight. Our goal is for everyone who's a Flickerstick fan to get one of these. That being said, vinyl is not cheap or easy to produce, so we're not going to produce thousands. It's going to be hundreds, but we really want everyone to get their hands on one of these. We know that there's been a lot of demand and discussion about doing some sort of vinyl release with this one for a while, even prior to us getting involved. So we're super thankful that you guys have partnered with us on this. So again, you can get the record now. It's up for pre-order. We anticipate it actually being pressed and available in the fall. We're shooting for October-ish as the date. It is available right now to everybody in the United States. We're not doing international shipping as of right now for the pre-orders, but if you are watching and you want to order it and you're outside the U.S., you can get in touch with me, and you can do that via the NTX Vinyl website or DFW Legacy Series website. Just get in touch. We'll get you on a list, and hopefully we can help you out when we actually get these in hand. What else do I need to say about it? I mentioned it's a gatefold jacket. We redid the artwork from scratch based on the CD. So we wanted to keep it as true to the original release as possible. It is the Epic or Sony release. That's what's going to be. This isn't the independent version. So yeah, what did I miss? Anything I missed, Travis?
I don't think so. I think you've pretty much hit everything that we would have mentioned on it.
All right. So that's the details on the record. A bunch of people are already pre-ordering. That's freaking awesome. I know that the fans are not only excited about the vinyl, but they're excited to hear from you guys. They're excited to see you guys. So our idea for this is really just to talk about the writing, talk about the recording of the album, the release of the album, and talk about what you guys remember from that time when the band really was had hit its stride and was touring the country in support of this record. So we'd love to dive in. Corey, I think maybe I should start with you since that's where this whole thing started.
Sure.
Why now? When I hit you up, I mean, it wasn't even just 2 months ago, maybe. It's come really quick. Like, surely you guys have talked in passing over the years about whether it was getting back together in some form or doing something like this. When I hit you up, you were really responsive right off the bat and open to the idea. And so I'm curious about your initial thoughts, knowing what it would take to get everybody kind of to agree on something.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's kind of been a passion for us for a while to think about getting something released, whether it was digital or whatever else. And there's been a lot of I think drama about like what was going on with the album. Did we actually own the album? Where was it? Was it in some warehouse that burned down? That was a story. Did we ever actually own it? A good friend of mine and former manager of the band, Paul Bassman, worked with me a little bit just to go and try to do some research, and reached out to a few people, and we figured out that we did in fact own. We bought back the masters of the album. Now, we own the album itself, and we bought back the masters. The masters, we don't know where they are. That's a whole nother project to try to figure out where those are. But I think once we realized that, and it kind of eliminated this hurdle that we thought, this kind of false hurdle that we, thought was there, that might have been preventing us from doing, certain things. Once that was removed, I think it was a no-brainer to try to get this out to everybody. And as great as the digital platforms are and everything else, love that. Some of our music is out there on that already. The idea of being able to open that gatefold and pull that album out of there and, put it on the record player the way we did with, the music that we grew up with was just, it was too much to pass up. So, it was exciting. And then seeing the other things the other projects that you guys had done, honestly, a few people over the years had kind of, mentioned that they might, they would fund doing something like this. But the way that you guys connect to the local, music, what you're doing for local bands, seeing everybody here over the last couple of days posting their Dusu Aquavita vinyls that they just got,
that's awesome.
One of my favorite bands of all time. And so I think, it was just kind of a no-brainer for us to partner and get this thing out. I know that through the Flickerstick, reunion page, there's so many people that have gotten involved with that. And I think that ignited each one of us as we've all kind of started to gravitate towards it. And there's these people that we know, we've met them so many times over the years at different shows, that, it just made sense. It was great timing. Perfect. Absolute perfect timing.
It's great to hear it, man. I have to give a special shout out to our good friend Bo Wagner, because in full disclosure,
first,
like I mean, I don't want to give too much credit, but he made it happen because I hit up Bo and I said, "Hey, do you know those guys?" And he said, "Dude, talk to Corey." And we were messaging back, 10 minutes later, and you had already told me like, "We're all in. We own the masters." I'm like, "Oh shit, this is real." It happened like
we can actually do this.
Yeah, it progressed really quickly, which is kind of unheard of, as you imagine with most of these things. So Dom, I'll kick it to you next, man. What do you, if we start diving in, thinking about this record, what comes to your mind first when you go back to when you guys first started pulling this together? You're a young band, you're in the local scene. And you guys obviously put this record out twice, so you can talk about whichever version you want, the independent or as you kind of moved on to Sony. Like, what sticks out to you most when you think about the very beginning of this record?
Very beginning was a lot of fun. I mean, it was like, because I met these guys when I was in another band, and I like told them, I was like, you know what, I need to be the drummer in your band, and it's like they were like, what are you talking about? You're already in a band. And I was like, well, I think I just do good. And then they brought me in, and then we just started rehearsing like crazy. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we did like 5 days a week, and we committed to 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. And we just rehearsed our asses off. And then we started coming up with these songs, and then these songs just started coming up. And that's basically how the record kind of transpired. Or at least I remember that's how Beautiful came up. But, when we just first started out, we were just having the best time ever, and we just really enjoyed each other. We just like rehearsed all the time, and then it just things grew from there. But yeah, it was exciting when the record was done, and it was like time to go into the studio and record. And it was just like, I'm not gonna lie, recording was a little bit of a challenge, but trying to hit it perfect, because back then we were doing tape, mostly tape, not so much digital, not a whole lot of cut and paste, but yeah.
Right on. So, Brandon, you just joined us, man. I know everyone would love to hear from you. What sticks out when you think about welcoming home the Astronauts?
The fact that people still talk about it 20 years later is bizarre. It's awesome, but I know that when we got offered a deal to go to BPL, where we recorded the album with Todd and Toby Pipes, I think we were their first band, and so we got like this. Paul Bassman just came to us and was like, "Hey, y'all need to go record here. They're going to give y'all like a really good deal or something." And they did, but it was like Dom had been in the band with us, and the game had kind of changed, and adding Rex and all that, and I just remember we all had jobs and we're working a lot, and then like we would go record, and we just wanted to not suck, really. Like we didn't know, we had no idea that these songs were gonna do what they did, or that a lot of people consider the album. I mean, I get told a lot, like that it's one of the better debut albums of a Texas or DFW band that they've ever heard, and it's really complimentary. My point is that if you'd have told me that when we were recording it in early 2000, I don't know why I wouldn't have believed you at all. But I guess we did. I guess we actually had more magic than we thought. In retrospect, we were quite magical.
Yeah, I think like I said, the response to when we started teasing this has just been overwhelming. So you guys hit a chord. There's no doubt.
Well, I think that to me, what stands out on the album is the first track. I really do. It's not the label. When we got signed to Epic, they were very not down with having a 6.5, 7 minute long art rock song to lead off a debut band's first release. But it's not a pop song. It's not something that you put on everything. But that song kind of sums up the whole album, and it summed up where we were at the time. It's different. It's not your run-of-the-mill pop song. And when I heard that recorded, and we were gonna have that first on the album, and we stuck to our guns about it, to me, it's just a great track, and to me, it kind of sums up the whole band. I guess if one song could, or at least this album could, because the Beautiful, Coke, Smile, they're all great songs, but they're very kind of more of a standard type of a songwriting process, songwriting structure.
Oh, they're not. Smile's definitely
Well,
not.
Smile was right there. Smile's quite bizarre too. It's a hymn. It has, Rick Beato said that it doesn't have a verse or a chorus. It just exists, But I just was really happy when I heard Lift for the first time, kind of mixed. That I knew that we were at least doing something that we could be proud of, I guess, So there's my take on it.
And Fletcher, We haven't heard from you, man. What are your thoughts when you think back to getting in the room with these guys for the first couple of times when it was starting to come together once Dom got on board and once you guys were really heading into the real recording studio to lay this stuff down?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, literally, it started way before that. So my brother and I, we went to UNT, right? And we had an apartment together. And I literally just sat there, like, trying to study. I didn't study a whole lot, to be honest. But I would just listen to him play guitar in the next room. And he was writing songs like Hollywood, like Smile. I don't know. There was
Execution.
Execution by Christmas Lights. Like, and I would just listen through the wall. And I was so like, dude, these are good. Like, what are we doing? Let's start a band. And that's when Corey came along. But yeah, I mean, obviously we needed a great drummer. And we found Dom. So
Well, Dom found us. Dom demanded to be in the band.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there was no audition. Dom just said,
Pretty
hey,
much.
I'm in this band. It's pretty cool, but you guys, I'm going to be your drummer now. And we just were like, okay. And then we went out to Deep Ellum every night of the week and ran into the grassy knoll.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
You know,
Yeah,
The grassy knoll, the Plaza grassy knoll.
yeah,
that
it
would
was
be
crazy.
Corey driving in the car.
It was absolutely crazy.
2:30 in the morning.
I
Grassy
think
knoll.
there's still some tire
All the way up the grassy knoll.
impressions in the grassy
Little
knoll from our
tire.
car.
Fletcher was telling me which way the shooters were coming. Back, in 1963, and I was like, we gotta change the tire
I don't know about that.
because we're gonna get fucking cops to be here any second. And I was just waiting. Nothing happened. We made it back to Denton. No, I blame Dom though. I blame Dom.
Look, my
You
brother.
can blame me for all of that shit because I
Dom wasn't even there.
cuss on this?
We were all gonna tell him.
Yeah, we can cuss. You can cuss. I think people understand.
Look.
I made it my mission to get everybody fucked up real good every night. So
Yeah, I mean, my brother and I
I mean, round up on the grassy knoll.
Fort Worth to Dallas
Allegedly.
3-4 days a week and would practice for what? We would practice for 4 to 8 hours. I mean, who knows? And drink however many beers and then drive back to Fort Worth. It was not a good thing, and I don't recommend it.
Solid advice.
great advice, Fletch.
Yeah.
No, I just told that story because 2 days ago I had to work a show in Dallas and I had to drive down Dealey Plaza and I hadn't done it in many years and I was like, I can't believe that we ran onto Grassy Knoll and made it out alive. It was all good, but whatever. Memories.
We've been in much worse situations, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah.
we don't need to tell those. There's a lot that we could go through. We're not going to do.
Well, I guess Brandon and Fletcher, doing the research kind of on some of the things of the band, I had read in an article that VH1 approached you guys about being in a TV show with siblings. And that's kind of Bands on the Run. Is that kind of how Bands on the Run came about in a roundabout way?
I heard that, but like really, it was Paul Bassman. Just was like he kept bugging us, like y'all need to make this audition tape, and we were like, nobody's gonna put us on TV. This is ridiculous. It's stupid. The questions are stupid, and then they finally made us. Paul was like, do it, just do it, and then we started getting calls back. But I did remember hearing that they had interest in us because that originally or something about siblings. I don't know.
All right. Well, so once you guys,
Am I the only one that remembers this? I'm sorry.
no, it was something. If it's on the internet, it's got to be true, right? I mean, that's
Yeah,
where.
I'm 6'8".
So let's fast forward a little bit. Thanks to YouTube, I was able to go back. I do remember watching Bands on the Run when it debuted.
Emmy nominated Bands on the Run. Please.
Emmy nominated Bands on the Run. I worked at the Edge at the radio station. I was managing a couple of bands, so there was interest on many levels seeing you guys on that TV show. The question that I have on that show is, it's you guys, it's Harlow, Soulcracker, and then, I guess after the first or second episode, they throw this other band in. Did they change the rules of that show to make sure you guys stayed in it? Because
they did. Come on.
I mean, to be
It was-
in it or to like stay, to not get kicked off the very first 3 episodes.
There was no
was
written
no-
rules. So yeah, absolutely. They wrote the show as it went along. There was no real way for them to understand how things were going to play out, and all the best laid plans ideologically. Hey, it's the people who come in and get the most people at their show and make the most money, and then they start to realize like, well, that's not really what music is about.
Yeah, that's true. Corey's right, because they've never done a reality show. Nobody had ever done a reality show like this about bands. And so like their criteria, and I think that they're, that what they thought was going to work, it did, but it as it was progressing, it was like, you could obviously see like Corey said, like, this isn't natural. This doesn't feel like it's just strange the way that it's going. And of course, we tried, but we couldn't do that. It was just not in our nature at all.
Well, and the reason I asked the question is, I think as you watched the show, you guys were clearly the best band. I mean, there was
We were clearly the drunkest band, by the way.
Okay, but you were the best. You were the most entertaining band to watch on the show. I mean, by far. But even when it comes to what it's supposed to be about musically and songs and a band, it was night and day. I mean, going back and watching it now, your stage show, what y'all did compared to everybody else. And so as I was watching it this last time, that's what I thought. I'm like, the producers are like, there's no way we can get rid of these guys for all these different reasons, because this show will be terrible if they're
we had really good pedal boards.
Had really good what?
Yeah, talent board. Yeah, we just had really good pedal boards. That made it sound really good. I'm joking.
So as you look, I mean, when was the last time any of you guys watched any of that? I mean, was it after it aired and you haven't seen it since?
I watch it every day.
In your bathtub?
Coffee.
I wake up in the morning and I put on BOTR.
From the bathtub, yeah, Corey.
Yeah. I watched the episode where I fight Dom.
Which episode is that? Wasn't that everyone?
Yeah, I think it was quite a few. Definitely quite a few.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in probably 10 years, but I know Fletcher's a meme. He's a meme.
Fletcher's a meme?
Yeah, he's an official meme. It's the one where he's holding the beer and he's like looking at it and like a glazed over.
I did see
And Rex is behind him, kind of going like, "What is he doing?" That's a meme. Somebody memed me, Fletcher. If memed me is the thing.
Nice.
I was like, because I said something they thought was kind of strange or something, and then I got Fletcher as a meme. This is like a couple months ago.
So when it was all said and done, I mean, did you make genuine friendships with any of the other bands, or was it a competition and when it was over, it's done?
Yeah. No, I think we.
Well, let's see. Who made friendships with other bands?
I don't know. I mean, hardly close to Harley.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Dominic.
Hey, man, I'm just,
Hey. Come on, man.
Sounded like a loaded question to me.
it's hard to grow up sometimes,
We
Corey.
didn't, I don't think that we disliked the other bands as much as it looked like. I mean, like Soulcracker wasn't. I mean, I don't know. We didn't see them that much, to be honest. Well, until the end, until the hotel, terrorism started and stuff like that. But I don't remember really seeing them a lot.
So after the show ends, you guys come back home. Obviously, there's huge buzz around the band. Kind of walk us through. I mean, does every major label start knocking at your door at that point? What kind of happens? What's the process after you've won? You go through that and then you're back home.
I stopped laughing.
Yeah, we. I wouldn't say every major label was knocking. It was an unknown. It was an unknown thing. I don't think people really knew how to react to it. Certainly we were approached by labels and we talked to labels, and then ultimately, before deciding to go with Sony Epic, we were making the decision between a couple of different labels. But I think there was some uncertainty amongst, reality shows were such a new thing.
And people thought we got a deal from the show too, which was incorrect.
Right.
Remember that?
I actually thought that until I went back and watched it, and then at the end where it was just you got the showcase for labels,
right,
and then you got the gear, I guess, from Guitar Center.
The showcase for the labels was like, that was not a real.
Did we do that?
I guess we did do it. Yeah. I actually have some.
The whiskey.
Yeah, it was that whiskey in LA, and but it was just people going because they felt obligated to go. I think what started to happen was, so that was immediately following the show. So I think what started to happen, what they started to notice was, and what we started to notice was, because we had no way of knowing, is that we went and started playing shows, and they were selling out in advance, and then we would have to add a second show, and then all of a sudden we're moving into bigger venues, and we're playing TLA in Philadelphia, and we're playing these like Metro in Chicago. We're playing these like great venues that are literally selling out in advance, and so labels kind of had to say, okay, well, there's clearly something beyond just them being on the show. And actually, I think, Travis, that's a really fair thing. And I think from a local band perspective, kind of a common misnomer about our band was we went on a TV show, we won a record label, they released, an album because that was part of like winning the show. I don't think that did us a lot of, it was a disservice to us, sometimes amongst other local musicians, because they felt like, oh, they just won this because they went on some stupid TV show. But it really was the fans. It's not dissimilar to like what we're, experiencing and releasing this. The fans really connected both with the music and the band, and we connected with them. And I think that's what drove the label interest, is they started to see that we were out touring and selling albums and selling merchandise, and had a connection to our fans that was big. And that, obviously for them, ultimately as empirical, money overlords, they went, well, maybe we can make some money off of this. And so that's how we ended up, with Sony Epic. In hindsight, probably wasn't the right label for us to go with. There was a lot of great people with the label that really tried to help us, but in retrospect, it probably wasn't the right label for us. But yeah, it was, it honestly, like, I can't say this in any other way. It was the fans. It was literally the people that were coming to our shows, and the local label guys would come out and say, these guys are playing places that like major label bands with radio play can't get into. And then there were a few people at radio stations like the Edge, and other radio stations across the country that started to spin our music. And once that started, it kind of took off from there. And that was actually before we even recorded the Epic version. There were people saying, Coke was doing really well on radio prior to us ever releasing the Sony Epic version.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Listening back to it now, there was probably at least 4 singles that could have done really, really well on that record had it been given a fair shot.
Yeah.
I think, and that kind of led to,
That's the rumor.
that kind of leads to in the one part of, and tell me how correct this part of the story is, that Epic was kind of assembling the promo plan, really getting ready to do the massive push. You guys go to New York, set to play a show on 9/11, and obviously the world knows what happens, and everything just stops. That's got to have a massive, massive effect on the band. It's got to have a massive effect on the label.
I'll say just 2 seconds on it. It was a sold-out show at Irving Plaza. Polly Anthony, the president of Sony Epic at the time, was going to be there. Every important radio, person from across the country was going to be there. All the label execs were going to be there. It was the coming out show for an album that was going to be released about 6 to 8 weeks after that. So that kind of sets the stage for what the show was. And then, Brandon, if you want to kind of, talk about like kind of what it meant from there.
Well, there was, it's hard to explain it. The odds of us being in New York on that night or the day, we were there for the night before. We had a night off, and then we were there that morning and we were supposed to play that night. But I think what Corey's trying to get at is that it's almost impossible to put into words, especially in the industry back then. Like there was so much on the line. I can't even think of another band that was releasing a debut album with this much momentum.
Right.
After a TV show with 7 million people a week watching or whatever, and then finally getting a major label deal, them going ahead, we signed with them. But yeah, Corey's right. The big wigs hadn't seen us. They had just kind of went like, "What's this band about?" And the R&R and people that had heard the album were like, "This band's got 5 singles. Like this band could be massive." And we were being told a lot of positive things were about to happen. We were about to shoot another video for Coke. There was a lot that was on the line, and basically Paulie Anthony being there, and along with literally anybody that can make or break at that time, a debut album of a rock band that had just unimaginable amount of momentum behind it, just come to a complete stop. And the fact that we continued on for as long as we did to me is amazing. But it was literally if God knows what would have happened if it didn't happen that way. But I tell you this, it would have done a lot. I thought it would get easier to discuss this after 20 years, but it hasn't.
No, it doesn't. It was a once in a lifetime thing.
It was a life changer. I know it was a life changer for everybody, of course. Yes.
Yeah, it was obviously a terrible situation.
It's a crazy amount of situational tragedy that it changed our lives. I know it changed all 5 of our lives. Not just because of the terror attack, but it actually made an impact on us of where we went after that point and years later and what we're all doing now.
I know you're going to ask a question, but I just wanted to say one thing real quick, because I think this is an important thing a lot of people don't understand that ties together that event. Was our manager at the time, Paul Bassman, also managed Drowning Pool.
Right.
And at that exact time, the song that was taking over the world was Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. And
Right. Oh, no.
Sorry. Anyway, they got pulled from radio almost immediately,
Yes.
just kind of out of kind of the respect for the event or whatever, and it changed the trajectory of their careers as well, almost simultaneously. So we had Paul, our manager, managing both of these bands, and so. And everyone would know this. If you have one band that's really starting to take off, it actually helps you as a manager to move along your other bands and get opportunities for your other bands and connections for your other bands. And so those two things literally happened at the exact same time. And so that is a kind of a tertiary part of what happened to us. Was something very bad happened to another amazing local Dallas band at the exact same time, and it kind of moved us both over a little bit. So anyway, I just wanted to to kind of speak to that before we moved on from the topic.
Yeah, that's something that I don't think fans would have ever realized, that because you think about Flickerstick and Drowning Pool, two completely different styles of music. Yes, both rooted in Dallas, but the fact that that would have impacted you is something no one would have realized. And I think the question I was going to ask, which is, you guys were just kids. Did at that moment, obviously that was a massive moment globally, but did you have any understanding or kind of foresight what it was going to do to your career at that moment? I mean, were you even thinking on that level?
It's a hard
I went into kind of panic mode because I was just like, this is unbelievable what's happening in front of our eyes. You know, you're watching terrorist attack on the United States, and New York has gone into like total panic mode. And it's like, you know, here we are. We had a sold out show, and we were supposed to do our thing, and that it was totally derailed. It derailed the world, but it derailed us, derailed our band, for sure.
Yeah,
we played some really good shows after the fact, but we continued on, but we just lost our label because they were New York based, and they weren't, they were trying to restructure their lives, personally, and then get on with the record label. But after that, we just never recovered.
Well, let's kind of changing gears a little bit and talking about shows. As you think back on your career, on this incarnation of the band, what show really sticks out in your mind? Like, is there a favorite show, a favorite venue, one that you guys just, when you walk off the stage, you're like, that was effing amazing?
I think we all probably have the same venue. What do you think?
Hard Rock or Orlando?
Okay, that is not what I was thinking. But
Not what I was thinking.
Oh, that was good too.
The Metro was the best.
Metro Chicago.
Chicago. Great venue.
Really? I think definitely Hard Rock Orlando.
That
was a huge show, Fletch. That was a huge show, but
it was huge. It was huge.
I think the one that stood out to me the most
we
is
headlined every time at the Metro.
Well, no, but we also got to open for Stone Temple Pilots, so I could add that into the list.
That was at a festival. That was at
right. So I'm not adding festivals in because those were freaking amazing. But,
what about our first show at Deep Ellum Live, guys? When we got to do a hometown show, and we had a line around the block at DeepEllum Live, 11 capacity.
We were across the street.
Right across the street from the house.
Watching it. Oh my god.
Yes. But that was to me like the ultimate like thing for me. I was just like, because we look out across the street from my apartment, because I used to live right across the street from that venue. And I looked out, and the line was down the block, all the way down around Bomb Factory, around the corner. And, it was a complete sold-out show, hometown show. And I guess that was the first time my parents ever saw me play as well. So that was a huge point on them. And then they thought me being in a band for as long as I was doing it. They were just like, they didn't get it until they saw that show.
So first time you heard your song outside of Dallas on the radio?
Oh, I was about to say, I heard it in the strip club. I was like,
I just remember coming by and seeing a video played after Janet Jackson all the time for some reason. It would be Janet Jackson's single, and then the next video would be us, and I would be like at my mom's house or somebody's house, and I'd just be like, "Is this happening? This is bizarre."
It was like MTV's way of saying, "This is what hit music sounds like. This is Flickerstick."
Yeah, right.
Why you got to put us down so low, Corey?
Corey, I'm telling you, man.
Jackson.
And working in radio, I mean, "Beautiful" is it still stands up today. I mean, that song you could still hear on the radio, and it wouldn't sound out of place on certain radio stations. "Coke" is a hit. The other question I was going to ask you guys is, in today's kind of PC world, do you think Chloroform would be able to be on a record now?
I don't know what song you're
referencing. Well, it's on a record.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, if you were putting out a record today, could you put Chloroform on that record and not get shit?
Well, what I would say is we took the word naked out of one of our songs. Not for the same reason, but no, I think probably no. I mean, I don't think you can do anything today.
Different world.
Yeah, it's a different world. But
somebody would cancel you for sure.
If I can just say one thing,
Cancel us.
That is a love song. It is a love song, and if you really listen to it, it's a love song.
It really. I mean, I listened to it a couple times just to make sure before I asked the question. But knowing a lot of people, when you listen to pop radio, you're not really listening to pop radio for the substance and the deep meaning.
I mean, it caught hell 20 years ago. So yeah, I can only imagine now.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So that's
one of our oldest songs.
So it's not going to get played on the radio all the time now? No? Okay.
Maybe this will revive it. Maybe the vinyl version will revive
it. He's going to get his pants.
Sure.
So speaking of the songs, and this was, we had asked the fans to throw questions at us in advance. And one of the questions I saw several times was like, going around the room to each of you guys, like, what is the song that if you had to introduce your band to someone who's never heard, like, what's the one song you're going to play for them that you're most proud of, that you think represents the band or this album in particular, if you want to go there?
I would say Lift.
On this album, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Sorry Wrong Trajectory is one that it is really good. I also think for me personally, just everybody can kind of say something. It wasn't on this album. It's probably one of our more unknown songs. It was on a 5-song EP. It's called Blue. To me,
Blue.
I think go sit down and listen to Brandon Lee sing that song and tell me that that's not one of the most amazing things that you've ever heard in your life. It's sick. I wanted to try to get it put on this. I didn't bring it up. I was like, if you could somehow sneak this song on to this vinyl, it would be amazing.
Could it be a third vinyl record on just Blue on the third one? Yeah. I wish. Yeah. Triple album. No, I agree. Corey knows I love Blue as well. When Corey and I wrote Blue, it was one of those songs that we both. It wasn't going to be a single, but we didn't care. We were just like, this is awesome. Let's keep working on this. And then it ended up being, one of my favorites, if not my favorite as well.
Yep, for sure.
Did you guys? I'm curious because you had such a unique trajectory because of the TV show and then the events in 9/11 and all that stuff. And then going back to what you said, Dom, about the sold out show at Deep Ellum Live, how much did you guys feel like a local band? Because being in the local scene at that time, you guys exploded so quickly. Like, did you? It kind of feels like to me that you had several local scenes because you were just big in Chicago and Orlando and all. You could name Atlanta, a lot of other different cities as Dallas. Did it still feel like you were a local band?
I definitely felt Dallas was our local spot, and it's like I kind of made sure that whenever I was home, I would, I lived across the street, so I was always out at the bars. I always went to Curtain Club. I always went to Trees. I definitely made my rounds to go to and make sure I just go see all the bands that are playing. And Dusu was my favorite. So it's like Edgewater was a favorite of mine. It was like I always went to go see these bands play whenever they were playing, and it's like. I felt like Dallas was our local spot.
Our first bus tour we ever took, Dusu was our opening band. It was like, we're bringing we have to do this with our boys. Like, let's go. And we were obsessed, with. We
were obsessed with them, but our fans were just like, please, come on, just get the opening act on and just come on. But I don't think they really got them like we did, but.
We were obsessed with local music. I mean, we really were. I think we all still are to this day.
Yeah, true.
I remember sitting in Brandon's and maybe Fletcher. They both had the apartment, but we sat in their apartment in 1996 when they played the Quick Bionic Arms release on Adventure Club, and we literally sat there and listened to that, and we're like, dude, this is sick. We were obsessed with Centromatic. We were obsessed with so many local bands. And so like, yeah, absolutely. We considered ourselves a local band, and almost, you know, to a self-deprecating way, that like we were never one of the actually like really good local bands. And sure, we went out and we toured in other areas, but like we were so you know, and I think guys like Bo, you know, and Space Cadet, and like all these other bands like along the way, Hi-Fi Drowning is one.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time we opened for them, and then immediately when we had the chance, you know, they could open for us. Like we were almost like obsessed with the idea of helping to a little known band that I talk about all the time, Slowpoke. Like I don't know how many people know Slowpoke, but like obsessed levels that we were with these bands.
Corey, you were so in tune with like the local music scene, and it's like even in different like towns, it's like Corey would like show up at this disc on the bus, and it was like I remember Pop Unknown, he turned me on to this band, and I was like, holy shit, who the fuck is this band? And I was like, I became completely obsessed with this band.
Yeah.
And they were like my favorite band for years past.
Austin.
They're from Austin, Texas.
There was an odd coupling for a while that I think both bands equally found awkward. Was we kept getting booked with Slow Roosevelt all the time for like a year before the TV show, and they were
what? Slow Roosevelt?
The band as we were on the like they were like, you know, we liked each other. We love their music, right? We became friends, but like there'd be a show after show, and like, who are you playing with next week? And we're like, Slow Roosevelt. Slow Roosevelt would be like, I don't get it either, but you know, like
you're there.
We had a blast. It was just, I just remember it was I don't know who kept pairing us together, but you know, it happened a lot.
Well, and
blame Doug at the Curtain Club.
Yeah, we could probably point a few fingers, whoever was piecing those bills together. But yeah, I think the passion you guys have for that, I think it shows through, and I think that trickles down to the fan base too. In the DFW Legacy Series, when we launched this thing, and I think the majority of you guys are in that Facebook group we have, the amount of nostalgia and you know, memories and memorabilia that everyone brings to the table and has shown. Not only Flickerstick, but all those other bands you guys have named from that era. That's why we're doing this. Yeah. I mean, there's just so many great bands and the Deep Ellum scene, also Fort Worth, also Denton. There was just so much passion for that era, and it's based on the fact that there was so much great fucking music.
Do you know what like the main background band was for Bands on the Run? Chomsky.
Yeah,
They constantly played Chomsky for like little intro, outro things. It was like, oh, here's Flickerstick driving around, and Chomsky would be playing in the background because how do you think they knew who because we were like obsessed. We would drive around in the van like jamming to Chomsky.
Obsessed is like kind of an understatement, because we were like we kind of worship Chomsky. It's like we all listened to it and was on all the time.
We went to every Chomsky show.
Every show.
Every time they were at Clearview, we were there.
We brought them to open for us in Fort Worth at one of the big Ridgely shows. Remember that? It was Chomsky and somebody. I can't remember.
Brass Street Fair.
Rice Street Fair. Those were good days too.
Somebody just posted about Rice Street Fair about when it started raining.
Yeah, when Brandon says "Let it rain," and literally
it started raining. It was like that was pretty intense, though.
That was a moment.
The secret of the ginger. Yeah.
No. GI, why don't you reset a little bit with the vinyl as we're coming up towards the end?
Yeah. So I can tell you guys right now what's going on with the record. We have sold just over 200 copies of the record, which is absolutely
awesome, guys.
Killer.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Can't thank everybody enough for the support. This is something we're so proud to bring to life. It's going to be available for pre-order over the next several days and weeks. We're going to keep it up. We're going to figure out, based on the numbers, how many we're going to press. Because, again, like I mentioned at the beginning, we really want everybody to get a copy of this. We don't want to cut this thing off and have a whole bunch of Flickerstick fans put out because they didn't get it. That's not
you want to put
They will
What's that?
riot. They'll riot.
GI, put the image up again, and I'll put it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys,
Here's what it looks
I
like.
appreciate you guys doing this for us, man. This is
I want to
really
say
cool.
thank you to you two guys, and I know Corey kind of really upstarted this whole thing with y'all, and it's always been a dream of mine to have something on vinyl, especially this record. I've never had anything on vinyl, so thank you guys for putting this on, and anybody that buys it, thank you very much too.
Yes, thank all of you.
Well, and thank you guys, because I know as we said at the top of this, we know it's been 15, 16, 17 years since the four of you guys have kind of been in a band setting like this. We've had a ton of comments asking about Rex. Corey, do you want to address Rex?
Sure. Yeah. I'm happy to. I've been in contact with Rex, quite a bit. He's doing great, guys. Don't worry about him. He's still a huge Dallas Mavericks fan. He loves Luka. He's all down for it. He feels like we're definitely going to take this series against the Clippers. Don't worry about that. You know what? He's just kind of moved on to other things. And, ultimately he wishes the band well. There's no ill feelings or anything like that. I don't want anyone to have that sort of takeaway. It's just not something that he wants to get connected back into, which is completely understandable. We get it. Those kind of things happen. We love Rex. We wish Rex the best. Literally one of the most caring and amazing and funny freaking people I've ever met in my entire life. And so, we wish him the best. I hope everyone knows he loves the band. He loves the music. In fact, his love of the music and his passion for it might be one of the very reasons that it's hard for him to get back involved into things like this. Yeah. And, it's like an opening up an old wound. And when you see how passionate he is and was about what he was doing, I think it's a little bit easier to understand that it is kind of maybe opening up, some of those old wounds. Not to say that there may never be a time where he could reconnect, but this just isn't it for him.
That's totally understandable, man. I know from being involved in this on all sides, once that door opens, it's really easy to re-engage with that world. So I get it, I totally get it. And we're all busy and we've all moved on and we've got different lives and families and everything. So that just speaks to the fact, again, how appreciative we are. And I know the fans are that you guys took the time to, schedule this. And it's not an easy thing to get everybody in the same place these days, even online. And to agree to do something like this. And so, I know it'll be worth it in the end. I'm excited to actually hold the record in my hands and drop the needle on it. And I know you guys are as well. And I know the fans are. And so
I can't wait to go on
doing this,
So, Fletcher and Brandon, I know, are you guys still doing music? Because I saw something a while back where y'all were playing. What's going on in y'all's world these days?
We're working on a gangster rap album that's gonna hit soon.
Finally.
Yeah. No,
I've been waiting on this.
Yeah. No, I mean, we did that just because we wanted to, or because Fletcher felt forced by the family. I don't know, but I don't know. We're threatening to do it again, but no, I mean, I'm always, I don't know. I play every now and then. I'm gonna finish up the second Jet of the Ghost Shoe record hopefully soon, and beyond that, who knows? But
yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. We got together and just did a kind of a duet, if you will, for old time's sake, and it was a lot of fun. And
well, I mean, COVID COVID, because of COVID and the streaming thing that popped up is kind of like it actually was a positive thing. It kind of got me to sort of play again, and people actually could see that didn't live in Fort Worth. So
me as well.
That was something new to me because what's streaming? But yeah, so I don't know. I'd like to do it again soon. I hope Fletcher wants to do it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm down. You know I'm down. So we're going to try to work something out. We'll see.
He plays the bass, not the treble.
I do.
We'll see what happens.
By the way, I've loved all these comments. The comments that everybody's putting in, it's amazing. So many fans.
Is Norm there?
Yeah, Norm is. I've seen Norm. I've seen Krista. I've seen
Krista.
The comments are great.
Brian and Michelle. Like,
where's Cheryl? And yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Fletcher's asking for fans. Hey, where are these specific fans?
Well, in regards to comments, in regards to that open door, as you guys could expect, this is gonna rile up the fan base. Everyone's been super excited. So, you know, if you can over the next couple of days, go into the Flickerstick group, which we're forever grateful for. You know, helping us get this thing off the ground, because I know the fans would love to hear from you guys, and you guys are active in there already. So, you know, again, we're super appreciative of everybody who's paying attention right now. If you haven't already ordered it, DFWLegacySeries.com. Like I said, it's going to be there, and this whole interview and everything will be available on demand. So the fans who aren't able to watch us live at the moment, it's going to be on the Facebook group page as well as DFW Legacy Series and NTX Vinyl pages. So hopefully this is a moment in time that, you know, at least the fans can look back on and say that you guys got back together and did one more thing, regardless of what happens in the future. This has been a great moment for us, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed kind of reminiscing and taking a trip back in time. It's been fun.
Yeah, Travis and Corey, thanks for putting this thing together, man. This has been like pretty huge. I literally haven't talked to some of these guys in 15 years, so this is definitely down memory lane for sure.
Awesome. Well, we definitely, I know I said it before, and I'll say it one more time before we go. Thank you to the four of you guys for allowing GI and I to have a piece of this history and put it out, because this is definitely a record that we have wanted to do for a long time. And I'm just so very grateful that Corey and GI got connected and we were able to get this done.
Oh, it looks like Brandon's got something planned.
Nice.
I do this.
Okay.
So one more time, there's the record. And DFWLegacySeries.com. And thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being a part of this one.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.